argument that the white masses would have to abandon
Oh my
whiteness
goodness.
if
Yeah,
there
let's go.
were to be democracy, if they were to free
So let's take a look over
themselves.
here. You can see that I'm
But
engaging this
abandoning
chat quite repeatedly.
whiteness, they must become like black
Here
people.
they're
The black
gushing on Jill
proletariat
Stein. I
is
say
the
Jill Stein is in the top
proletariat
5% of
in
1%.
its
She pushes more
becoming.
victims out. I've been on this channel a bunch of times. I don't record
And
it
this
all the
is,
time when
of
I'm here,
course,
but
this is the great discovery of
I do want to record this just to show my body of work on this particular topic.
scientific.
So the thing is that this is a group that's in Pennsylvania. They actually have Korean Americans, actually quite a few present. This lady's Korean American. They have other Koreans that are there. I believe this guy is guy I recognize. This guy in the blue shirt. This person is new. She's also Korean as well. Korean as well. In fact, this whole group, right? She's Korean as well. This whole group right here, these 4 people right here, all Korean Americans. All right, so that's a significant, right? And I don't think she's sitting with them. She's somewhere else at the table, right? Also Korean. Oh no, she's next to them. Oh, she's next to this girl, but she's off screen. So the Koreans kind of together. Anyways, so I recently, someone here is gushing about Jill Stein, not these people directly. I think they're talking about her. I recently had an indigenous man, Josh Haley, on from the Green Party, Alaska, who has complained of abuse by party elites in the Green Party, but our message now listening because of our political weakness, and because U.S. society does not recognize the sacrifice or accomplishments of Asian Americans or indigenous peoples. This is true. So, they do actually read from the chat occasionally. Stein is the moral choice for out-of-touch bougies who do not involve themselves with actual work in the Green Party. Okay, this is what Todd says. I agree that Stein is the moral choice. What have you done with the Green Party, man? Voting for Trump is the only way to technically punish the D's for the genocide. Well, I'm not saying, actually, I'm trying to do something AAPI for a Trump event, which is actually going to be interesting. And once again, right, there could be actually, Trump is just one man. Kamala is just one person. And if the rest of us band together and just do what we want, then they cannot control us, right? But instead of working with me, they keep talking about the greats. James Baldwin, a dead person. If James Baldwin was here, might have something to say about, how this guy's in the chat saying what's up. But, this guy's definitely the leader of this group, and he doesn't seem. He's mad because I said the Rage Against the War Machine is crap. Because there was no war victim speaking there. It's only millionaires like Jimmy Dore or Jill Stein, which is ridiculous. He's bought into a lot of bullshit. And not saying he's all wrong, but he's not all right either. Right? Can you imagine we had, right, I do say this later on, right? You would dismiss war victims and indigenous people for the white savior propped up by the media, aka Jill Stein. Okay? I think I got this message regarding resistance to death could use some teeth. She's an elite, but you watch the media shows because you believe the lies. You will never learn the whole truth in a classroom setting. My friend Mutio John Musaber was part of a movement that prevented Josh Pugh from being the VP candidate in Pennsylvania. This is true. They're in Pennsylvania right now, which is they mentioned about being a swing state. That's important, right? So you sit here and talk, but what are you achieving? What kind of work do you do in the streets? Okay, so I told him, right? Yeah. What you bring to the book is value of the book itself. I said I brought the recently longest wrongfully incarcerated men in New York State history for Kamala Harris's office. The names are Otis Johnson, Reverend Keith Gadsden. We got the police reform event panels with a plan approved by Serbico. We had the only third-party independent candidate debates for New York City. As New York State coordinator for the People's Party, I cried about corruption and fraud, led New York and New Jersey's party and New Jersey Revolution and New York City Yang Gang to Schumer's doorstep. Still, this person's talking about Stein-Ware campaign to improve its internationalism. And I say no. You can't fix overseas until you can't fix home. Then you can't trust the news from overseas. And I say this as a war victim, right? And this person says, I've been emailing Stein and Ware and trying to provide critiques and resources, including some of the discussion on SFS. Stein is in league with the gatekeepers, just like you see Puff Daddy using money and media to spin a web of control. In the music world, Stein is part of a media and money aristocracy that serves gatekeepers in this world. You know about Jill Stein because money paid for you to know about her, but she's not interacting with you now, is she? When you talk about celebrities and the greats who do not interact with you, I show up repeatedly but am ignored, and that's why I'm filming this right now. because I've been reaching out to this group, Saturday Free School, for a long time. I'm desperate to talk to other Korean Americans from around the country. I do have an interview coming with another Korean American producer from Los Angeles that will be coming up on Monday. It's pretty fucking cool. Oh, so yeah, the person asked, why am I compared about the free school? Because I'm Korean American, right? So it's hard to find Korean Americans in activism. You can't name a Korean American anti-war activist, or a Vietnamese American anti-war activist, or a Russian or Ukrainian American anti-war activist. Not even white anti-war activists are recognized, not those who have been victims. Let's have a reparations event or a criminal justice reform event and prevent blacks from attaining leadership or having a voice. This is what has happened to Asian Americans, the anti-war movement, and it is insane. Okay, skin folk ain't always kin folk. They're not wrong about that. They're going to find an Asian American shill who's going to say what they want, who will not acknowledge someone like myself. Just like the way these people are not really acknowledging, or really contacting me back to actually build, right? Sometimes they do read what I have to say in the chat, right? But they read the chat sometimes. But the fact of the matter is that they will never contact me to do any actual activism work, to actually achieve anything. They sit here in this room and they talk. Okay, Stein does not engage in conversations. Don't fill them your resources and attention. And evidence they're making math movement in the black liberation. Okay. Either way, we cannot agree on all positions or priorities. But I hope that the free school, especially the Korean Americans and Asian Americans, can hit me up. Right now, and I am looking to build coalition for minorities. Cannot win in a democracy without coalition. We are working. This is what's happening. Whatever, DGL7, laughing. I'm not impressed if you're that much in need of motherly love, right? Yeah? Who cares that I'm working with people that have been wrong? It's rated for decades. Not M. Sparks. Who cares that I work with Gavin Singtron? Died at Reese Houses. Not M. Sparks. Because he knows about the great Savior. It's not you mad funny. So he doesn't need actually help anyone. And those of us who do, he laughs at us. You're mad funny. They're laughing. They think it's funny.
Best. But that's the nature of being on the front line, being the spearhead of a movement and speaking truth when everybody else is lying. You're going to get depressed, and I ain't even going to mention, which I don't know specifically in his life, I can imagine how many times he was stabbed in the back and betrayed the jealousies, the envy. How can he do this and I can't? Well, hey, don't hate, celebrate, But it's all of this, and even, Eldridge Cleaver in his book Soul on Ice, and others, try to demean Baldwin. You can't be a legitimate black revolutionary because you're a homosexual. And Baldwin answered him beautifully. This is the way I remembered. Then when we read it, it did sound like the way I remembered it because I thought he told Eldridge. He said, "Look at here, man. I don't know what kind of sissies you met in the penitentiary, but I'm not one of them." you know. And he said, "You read it." I mean, he halfway said it like that. But I'm saying that Baldwin was never a chump. He's never a punk, man. He was skinny, but he wasn't scared. And so he stepped to Eldridge, let him know, you don't know me like that, and so on and so forth. But okay, let me back up. Oh, we'll go that way. But let me just go back to Francis Fukuyama and the end of history and the victory of liberal bourgeois ideology and the liberal bourgeois worldview, its connection to the system of white supremacy. And this is a case that we have begun to make. We have to make it. It's going to be a hard one for obvious reasons. That the Democratic Party is the principal party of white supremacy. And people will say, like, how can you say that? 70% of black people vote for Democrats. Or put it this way, 70% of black people who vote, which is a declining population. Or, all the black political leaders are in the Democratic Party, the Congressional Black Caucus, Barack and Michelle Obama, Oprah, Beyonce, Megan Thee Stallion. They all in the Democratic Party. And then Stevie Wonder and Patti LaBelle show up. So how can you say this is the party of white supremacy? Well, we can say it in part because it is the party of white supremacy with a sophisticated PR operation. So what it is not what you're saying. What you think you see is not what is. And why would they expose who they are? Why would they not, in the interest of the rule of a small, ruthless group of exploiters and war makers? Why would they want to be known as that? Isn't it better to be known as inheriting the tradition of Martin Luther King, the moral imperative, love your neighbor? Oh, well, yes. So let's rebrand what is a vicious and ruthless party of war that attacks the poor, that imprisons 1/3 of young black men, and that we can never underestimate the devastation economically and socially and culturally upon the black community. When you imprison 1/3 of young men, you would not do that to white people. That's why the laws had to be adjusted between crack and powder. You understand? Cocaine. And then set up a whole system where you have defined these young men as predators, as criminals out of their mother's wombs. Criminal, even if they want to do right, they can't because it's DNA wise.
You see.
And then you turn the society on them. And then you create a narrative, so-called music, where they portray precisely what the ruling class is saying about them. You know what I'm saying? And so we go from a love supreme to a music talking about bees and hoes and the N-word. We had never seen anything like this. Never. And it wasn't as though it was competing with what preceded it. It had carte blanche. There was no competitor. And then you get academics who are writing treatises on how this represents an advance in music and in consciousness. This was the work of a ruling class, the waging of the ideological struggle through art and entertainment.
Yo, Jim Angle in
Millions
the
and
house.
millions, perhaps billions of dollars devoted to advancing an anti-Black, quote, culture promoted and performed by Black people. You see what I'm saying? And that's what it was. At the end of the day, it has produced nothing of lasting value and nothing in terms of the struggle for Black freedom. Nothing. Well, I'm going to end this, I guess. Baldwin. You know, we got 5.5 more months, 40 days before an election. 5.5 months the year of Baldwin. And we have to do more. The people must know Baldwin. And the people are getting to know Baldwin.
Y'all telling me right
but
now.
They must know
Making
Baldwin.
big moves here, guys.
They need Baldwin like they need oxygen. He explains to them what they're trying to explain. You know, Purba and Shambata and Shantanu, we took a tour of mainly North Philadelphia. And North Philadelphia goes all the way up to the border line where Philadelphia ends and Cheltenham Township begins.
America's brothers and sisters, you know how I am.
All that's North Philly, because North Philly is not
You
a
know how I
geography
am.
as
You
much
know how I
as it is a demography, a population. So anytime Black people live in any part of the north of Philadelphia, and it's North Philadelphia. Before Black people moved in, it could have been Logan, Albany, Ogons, West Oak Lane. But as soon as Black people get up in there, it's North Philly. Just like my neighborhood. I thought I was in North Philly until I got gentrified. Now I'm not North Philly no more, although I'm North Philly, but they don't call it North Philly. But one of the things I was trying to point out to them is that we could not move into certain neighborhoods until white people moved out. We couldn't. In other words, you know, we were trapped, kind of locked in to a part what is called North Philly. It was called North Philly. Kind of, I would say, on the east side of Broad Street mainly, from about Girard or Fairmount, Girard, let's say, up to about Lee. That was hardcore North Philly. You know what I'm saying? Then in the 50s and 60s, this big thing of suburbanization kicks in. So the propaganda to white folk is, well, first of all,